Some AIPAC policy conference speakers have the ear of Israeli prime ministers. Some raise millions of dollars for important causes, and some have done great humanitarian work. The remarkable thing about our next speaker is that he has done all these things and more. He raised $10 million to bring Soviet Jews to Israel. He has been to Israel 23 times. He has met with every prime minister since Menachem Begin. The Jewish community has honored him numerous times for his humanitarian leadership. And what makes these achievements especially impressive is that the person who has done all these things is a foremost Christian leader. Dr. John Hagee is the founder and senior pastor of Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, Texas, a non-denominational evangelical church with 19,000 members. His sermons are carried on 160 television channels, 50 radio stations, and 8 networks, and are transmitted weekly to 99 million homes in America and 126 nations worldwide. Now that's a big deal even in Texas. Last year, he founded a new organization called Christians United for Israel. It has regional offices all over the United States and has already held its Washington Policy Conference with lobbying meetings on the Hill. My wife Frida and I have had the honor and pleasure of attending one of Pastor Hagee's annual Nights to Honor Israel, hearing Pastor Hagee preach, hearing the Cornerstone Church choir of 175 voices sing Israeli psalms, and hearing Pastor Hagee's son Matthew chant Yivarechecha, pronouncing every chet and chaf perfectly. There is perhaps no single person who gives greater testimony to the fact that the connection between America and Israel goes well beyond the Jewish community. As Pastor Hagee's words and actions attest, it is a connection for all Americans, a connection based on history, morality, security, democracy, and faith.
My father was a minister. We were a very religious family. So I think with that strong emphasis that I went in the direction of the ministry, which has proven to be the right choice. I went to Israel in 1978. I went there as a tourist, and I came home a Zionist. And while I was praying at the Western Wall, I saw a Jewish man praying, rocking back and forth, kissing the Bible with a prayer shawl on. And it dawned on me that I had been raised in the church, and I didn't know one thing about that man. And so I went on a 3-year study binge so that I could become equipped to reach out and to relate to the Jewish community in a meaningful way. I really didn't know how to go about that until the bombing of the nuclear reactor in 1981. When Israel attacked Iraq in 1981, the media in San Antonio was very critical of Israel.
Good evening. The aftershock is beginning to mount in the wake of Israel bombing a nuclear plant in Iraq, using American-made...
And I felt Israel had done the world a favor. And I said to my wife while I'm watching the 10 o'clock news, I want to have a night to honor Israel. I want to invite every pastor in San Antonio to go to the municipal auditorium, and I want to tell the Jewish community and the national television audience how much we should appreciate Israel for what they've done. Our first night to honor Israel was 25 people there. This year, a night to honor Israel is being conducted in 40 major American cities. We needed, as a Christian community, to have an organization where every Christian church, every Christian believer who was pro-Israel could have the opportunity to stand up and speak up for Israel. Now, millions of Christians from Maine to California are involved in defending Israel and advocacy for Israel in these ways. One, we're going to Washington. We're speaking to senators and congressmen, which is something Christians have never done. We will send emails, faxes, phone calls to senators and congressmen from every state in the union, so that when the senators and congressmen ask their staff, what's the mail today, it runs off the charts in support of Israel, and it's Christians who are supporting it. There is a new they're Christians who are pro-Israel. They do not have an agenda. They're not trying in any way to bring the Jewish people into our churches. We both want good things to happen to Israel. Israel is an American asset because it's democracy, because it is a friend that stabilizes the Middle East, because they are a loyal partner. Let's unite our strengths, our energies, and our people, and win this battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Pastor John Hagee.
Good evening, dear friends of Israel. Thank you for the privilege and pleasure of speaking to this distinguished AIPAC gathering. May I begin by thanking Melvin Dow for his friendship and wisdom that have been a guiding light for me personally and in all our endeavors on behalf of Israel over the years. I also want to thank AIPAC and each of you for being Israel's defender in the halls of the U.S. Congress. You are the finest and most efficient advocacy organization in Washington, D.C. On September the 10th, 1981, we conducted our first Night to Honor Israel in San Antonio, and there are two people with me tonight that made that first Night to Honor Israel possible. My wife, Diana, the love of my life, and Rabbi Aryeh Scheinberg, without whose courage there would never have been the first Night to Honor Israel, nor the birth of Christians United for Israel. There to my left, would you please stand? I'd like you to be welcomed by this great group of people. We meet tonight at a dangerous and difficult time in world history. To anyone with eyes to see and ears that hear, it is clear that Israel is at the greatest danger she has faced since 6 Arab armies tried to strangle the Jewish state in the birth canal in 1948. I know that during difficult days such as this, when it seems that the whole world is against Israel, many in the Jewish community nervously scan the globe searching for friends. You look toward the United Nations, which Dory Gold calls the Tower of Babel. You look at Europe, where the ghost of Hitler is again walking across the stage of history. You open your newspapers and read about American universities, where Israel is being viciously vilified by students taught by professors whose Middle Eastern chairs are sponsored by Saudi Arabia. You look to America's mainline churches and their initiatives to divest from Israel. You go to the bookstore and see slanderous titles by the former President of the United States, and you feel very much alone. I came here tonight tonight to speak about Christians united for Israel and millions of evangelicals in America who have a deep-seated faith-based belief to love Israel, to speak up for Israel, to stand up for Israel, to pray for Israel, and to financially support Israel until Israel achieves a just and lasting peace. I came here tonight to deliver a message to you from those millions of evangelicals in America, and I want to say this as clearly and plainly as I can possibly say it. Israel, you are not alone. There are millions of evangelical Christians across America who consider the Jewish people the apple of God's eye, who see you as the chosen people, a cherished people, and a covenant people, with an eternal covenant that will stand forever. Ladies and gentlemen of AIPAC, it's a new day in America. The sleeping giant of Christian Zionism has awakened. There are 50 million Christians standing up and applauding the state of Israel. If a line has to be drawn, draw the line around both Christians and Jews. We are united. We are indivisible. We are bound together by the Torah. The roots of Christianity are Jewish. We are spiritual brothers. And what we have in common is far greater than the things we've allowed to separate us over the years. As you know, Iran poses a threat to the state of Israel that promises nothing less than a nuclear holocaust. I have been saying on national television, in churches and auditoriums across America, quote, "It is 1938, Iran is Germany, and Ahmadinejad is the new Hitler." Ladies and gentlemen, we must stop Iran's nuclear threat, and stop it now, and stand boldly with Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East. The only way to win a nuclear war is to make certain it never starts. Iran's president has not limited his maniacal threats to Israel. He has also asked his fellow Iranians to imagine a world without America. This is a clear threat to destroy the United States of America. I have something to say to the president of Iran. Mr. Ahmadinejad, don't threaten America. Do not threaten Israel by saying they will pass away in a sudden storm. In the Bible, when Pharaoh threatened the Jewish people of Egypt, he became fish food in the Red Sea. When Haman threatened the Jews in Persia and modern-day Iran, he and his sons hung from the gallows that he built for the Jews. Mr. Ahmadinejad, threats against Israel have a way of becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. You may be well speaking about your own demise when you talk about passing away with a sudden storm, but you are not talking about Israel's future. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is watching you. King David wrote, "The God that keepeth Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps." The Christians of America are not going to sit by in silence this time and watch you plot and plan a nuclear holocaust. There will never be another holocaust, not on our watch, and never again. there's another more subtle threat that concerns me. I am concerned that in the coming months, yet another attempt will be made to parcel out parts of Israel in a futile effort to appease Israel's enemies in the Middle East. I believe that misguided souls in Europe, I believe that the misguided souls in the political brothel that is now the United Nations, and sadly, even our own State Department will try once again to turn Israel into crocodile food. Winston Churchill said, and I quote, "An appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile in the futile hope that it will eat him last." End of quote. In 1938, Czechoslovakia's Sudetenland was turned into crocodile food for Nazi Germany. The Nazi beast smelled the weakness in the appeasers, ate the food, and marched and devoured most of Europe and systematically slaughtered 6 million Jewish people. We are again hearing calls to appease the enemies of Israel. Once again, those who would appease seek to do so at the expense of Israel. They tell us that if we want the Sunnis and the Shiites to stop massacring each other in Iraq, then Israel must give up land. They tell us that if we want the Syrians to stop murdering the leaders in Lebanon, then Israel must give up land. They tell us if we want the Saudis to permit women to drive and to vote, Israel must give up land. If we want the sun to rise in the east and set in the west, Israel must give up land. Let me be clear, Israel is not the problem here. Scapegoating Israel will not solve the problem. The problem is the Arab rejection of Israel's right to exist. The problem is that Israel has no partner for peace. The problem is radical Islam's bloodthirsty embrace of a theocratic dictatorship that believes they have a mandate from God to kill Christians and Jews. The problem is the failure of the moderates in the Arab and Muslim world to stand up and rein in these Islamic extremists. If the moderate Arabs believe that murdering Christians and Jews is wrong, then stand up and say so. This is America. We welcome your participation in free speech, but your silence is deadly. Appeasement is not the answer, my friends. To quote the great evangelical abolitionist William Wilberforce, quote, "Appeasement is nothing worse than surrender on the installment plan." End of quote. America should not pressure Israel to give up land. And America must never pressure Israel to divide the city of Jerusalem. In his latest book, The Fight for Jerusalem, said, and I quote, "Turning part or all of Jerusalem to the Palestinians would be tantamount to turning it over to the Taliban." End of quote. I agree. Jerusalem is the eternal capital of the Jewish people, now and forever. Jerusalem is united under Jewish control and must always remain under Jewish control. Why do Christians support Israel? Truth is not what I say it is. Truth is not what you think it is. Truth is what the Torah says it is. There's the Torah way and the wrong way. Genesis 12:3 says, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. We believe those blessings are very real and those judgments are very real. Where are the nations that have persecuted the Jewish people? Where is Pharaoh and his army? Where are the Babylonians? Where are the Greeks? Where is the Ottoman Empire? Where are the Romans? Where is that goose-stepping lunatic Adolf Hitler and his Nazi hordes? All are historic footnotes in the boneyard of human history. Where is Israel? Where are the Jewish people? They are alive and well. They are thriving. They are prospering. They're growing. Even in the day of adversity, they're still going forward. Where is Israel? Where are those who were scattered throughout the diaspora? The mighty right hand of God has gathered them from the nations of the world. And Israel was miraculously born May the 15th, 1948. Israel lives. Shout it from the housetop. Israel lives. Let every Islamic terrorist group hear it. Israel lives. Let every tin-horn dictator in the Middle East hear it. Israel lives. Let it be heard in the halls of the UN. Israel lives. Let it echo down the marble halls of the presidential palace in Iran. Israel lives. Let it ring in the terrorist camps of Osama bin Laden. Israel lives. Israel lives. Israel lives. Jews have suffered pogroms and persecution. They have outlasted Pharaoh's slavery and Hitler's final solution. And I have no doubt that long after Hamas and Hezbollah have been buried in the boneyard of human history, long after the crisis with Iran has been resolved, the flag of Israel will still be flying over the ancient walls of the sacred city, and Jerusalem and Israel will be the praise of all the earth. Why do Christians support Israel? Because Christians deeply believe we owe a debt of gratitude to the Jewish people. You gave us the Word of God. You gave us the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You gave us the prophets, Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Zechariah, Amos, Hosea, Joel, not a Baptist in the bunch. The first family of Christianity, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, the apostles. John, the 4th chapter, says salvation is of the Jews. That's a New Testament verse. You don't hear many sermons they preached on that, but that's a real verse. Salvation is of the Jews. The point is, if you take away the Jewish contribution from Christianity, there would be no Christianity. Judaism does not need Christianity to explain its existence, but Christianity cannot explain its existence without Judaism. Therefore, I have been saying for 26 years over national television, it's time for Christians to stop praising the dead Jews of the past, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, while avoiding the Jews who live across the street. That's anti-Semitism, and anti-Semitism is sin, and as sin, it damns the soul. As Christians tonight, on this historic occasion, we ask God's forgiveness and yours for every act of anti-Semitism in our past. The Crusades, the Inquisition, Martin Luther's concerning the Jews and their lies, the final solution of Adolf Hitler carried out by baptized Christians in good standing with their church, the fact that the Roman Church was silent during these atrocities and we did not share their theology. They did not share our appreciation for the great contribution the Jewish people have given to humanity and to Christianity. Tonight, I humbly ask forgiveness of the Jewish people for every act of anti-Semitism and the deafening silence of Christianity in your greatest hour of need during the Holocaust. We were not there. We cannot change the past, but together we can shape the future. Think of our potential future together. 50 million evangelicals joining in common cause with 5 million Jewish people in America on behalf of Israel is a match made in heaven. Let the word go forth from Washington, D.C. tonight. There is a new beginning in America between Christians and Jews. We pledge to God and to the Jewish people to fulfill the words of the prophet Isaiah. For Zion's sake we will not hold our peace, and for Jerusalem's sake we will not rest. You who make mention of the Lord, do not keep silent, and give the Lord no rest until he makes Jerusalem the praise of all the earth. We have organized Christians United for Israel. We have 13 regional directors. We have 40 state directors. We have 80 city directors, and they're growing. We're organizing congressional district by congressional district so that as a body we can stand up and speak up for Israel every year in Washington, D.C. And Congress will know that the matter of Israel is no longer just a Jewish issue. It is a Christian Jewish issue from this day forward. In closing, I believe 2007 is a year of destiny. America and Israel are at war with a common enemy. It is a war of good versus evil. It is a war of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness versus the culture of death. I close with the words of Winston Churchill, who is my favorite statesman of all time, spoken during the dark days of World War II, when Hitler seemed unbeatable and victory seemed impossible. Churchill said, "You ask what is our aim? I can answer in one word. It is victory. Victory at all cost. Victory in spite of the terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival." End of quote. Ladies and gentlemen, as Christians and Jews, our aim is victory.